Hey everybody, and welcome to Sewing Report Live. I'm your host here with all of the fabric stores, quilt shops. There's a lot of chaos, and we've seen some closures. And bear with me because I am trying out a brand new uh, live stream setup, and I am getting some echo. So I got to figure this out. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second here. Guys, this is crazy. I'm trying out a new live stream setup, and I'm going to be honest, I don't like it. So I'm probably not going to be doing this next week. And we're going to be going back to the tried and true method. And let me know in the chat, are you guys getting an echo or is it okay? Are you getting an echo? Is the audio good? Because I'm getting echo on my end, and I'm not really sure what's happening. Oh, it's from Twitch. Okay. That's what's going on. All right. So I think I have audio. So we're good here. So here's the thing. I've been multi-streaming these shows. So I go live on multiple platforms. And I'm going to be real with y'all. It's a little bit tough. I'm having some challenges. So we're going to be talking all about fabric shops tonight. I'm going to let everyone get situated, get in here and whatnot. I'm trying out a new method of live streaming. And yeah, so far I don't like it. So the bad thing is that I can't advertise the live stream ahead of time on YouTube because this other platform does not actually create the stream until the stream starts, which is not great. So the good thing about what I'm doing tonight is that I can integrate all of the chats. So everything is combined and I'm not having to look at other chats. But the thing I really dislike about I think there's too many downsides to this new tool than the one I usually use. So that's why I probably not going to be using it again. So that kind of stinks. But let me know what y'all think here. It's just too much there's just too much negative. Okay. So it's called Rumble Studio, and normally I use something called StreamYard, and StreamYard has its downsides also, but unfortunately this Rumble Studio is just not working out that well. So I tried it once. I also can't really do the multicam setup. So next week we're going to be going back to StreamYard. I think the biggest negative for me is that I can't advertise the live stream on YouTube, which is the bulk of my audience, to be honest with you. And I do need to really cater to the platform where I have the most viewers, which is obviously YouTube. So yeah, next week we're probably going to be going back. Let me see. So I believe I can pop up some chats here, though. Good evening, everyone. Or maybe not. Okay, that's okay. I thought I could pop up okay, I'm going to be real. This platform kind of, yeah, I'm not loving this. So yeah, I can't pop up the chat. What's up with that? I thought I would be able to do that. Let's see here. What's going on here? I really thought I would be able to do that, but if I can't, that's kind of honestly, that is kind of a problem. Let me see here. All right, give me a second here, guys. I apologize. And again, I couldn't really test out these features unless I actually did a live stream. So this is sort of an experimental stream here. But yeah, I'm not loving this. This is not. Let's see here. Can I add? How do I add the chat here? Let's see here. I've got my screen here. Yeah, this is all kind of new. Guys, I apologize. I just kind of wanted to try this out, but there was no way for me to do that unless I actually streamed something. I thought there was a way to pop up the chat here. Let me see here. I thought I saw something here. What is going on? This is so crazy, guys. See, as I've got, and by the way, tonight's live stream, as usual, is sponsored by the Sewing Report Etsy shop for all of your fabric and sewing supplies needs. We've got some new handmade labels in here. We've got fabric. I've got some sales on bundles, lots of sewing supplies. So thank you for all of the support whenever you do make a purchase at the Etsy shop. It does help me continue to do shows like that. So I really appreciate everyone who's shopped with me, dearly. I really do. And I really enjoy doing the shop. All right, let me see if I can figure out how to get the chat. This whole thing is I'm like, what is going on here? So I'm supposed to be able to pop up the chats. I don't know. Yeah, and I was like, yeah. So I got to figure this out. But that's the thing. I couldn't really do it unless like I was actually, doing a stream. So bear with me for 1 minute here, guys. We've got 32 viewers in total here tonight. So welcome wherever you're watching. I really thought I had a way to pop up the chat. All right. Because that's what I really wanted to do. And if I can't pull the chats up, then that kind of stinks. Okay, pin on. All right, how do I pin? All right. Well, welcome everyone watching from whatever platform you're watching on. But yeah, I think next week we're probably going to be going back to StreamYard because this tool is just not, it's free. So here's the thing. I normally use a tool called StreamYard. It's web-based. It's what a lot of streamers use. And if you've ever done any live streaming, there are a lot of like technical aspects, especially if you're doing a show with any sort of production value whatsoever. So I've been using StreamYard for a few years, but the downside is it's pretty expensive. It's about $460 per year, which isn't cheap for sure. The downside though, again, the upside though is that you can do things like you can have guests on your show. You can pre-record things. You can go live on it. It does multi-stream, but it does not integrate with all of the live streaming platforms that I stream to. So I decided to try out this thing, Rumble Studio. The upside is that it is free. The downside though is that it's definitely missing some features that I need for my own show. But I didn't really know that until I was like got in there tonight and was like doing stuff. And I'm like, this is not great. I really thought there was a way to pop up the chat here. Let's see here. Present. No, not. All right. So I'm trying to figure out how to pop up the chat here. Oh, wait. Let's see here. Let me see what happens when I go in here. Let's see. Edit. Okay. Oh, here we go. Pop up chat. Let's see. Live chat. Let's see. Display chat on top of stream. Let me see if that works. Okay. Okay. So we can see the stream. So, all right. I'll leave that there. All right, we will leave the chat here. Okay. So I don't know. At least we can, but I don't like, the thing I like about StreamYard is that you can pull up certain chats and show them prominently on like the lower third of the screen. Yeah, this is just not, so far I'm not loving this. So, not really loving this so far. So yeah, I'm probably not going to be, I think this works for certain types of streamers, like if you're a gamer or if you're just like straight talking head without a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, for me, I don't think this is working out very well. So now we can see the chat at least up in the top, like right corner here. Oh my gosh, guys. But yeah, I really don't think this is going to be a mainstay going forward unless Rumble Studio makes some changes. So if you are trying to get into live streaming again, and you don't want to pay any money, I think experimenting with this Rumble Studio could be a good thing. But yeah, it's lacking some features that I think I need. Yeah, like, and I don't really like how this live chat is displayed, and there was no way to customize it. So that's very strange. So on the upside, yeah, StreamYard is definitely and I have it. But I thought I would give this Rumble Studio a shot just to see what it was like. The bad thing is that I can't really do my multi-camera stuff very easily. So like I can do it. Oh, wait. So this is my overhead camera, but I can't easily transition it like I can with StreamYard because it's not recognizing OBS Studio. So that kind of stinks. So there's a lot that I just am not loving about this tool. I think the biggest downside though is that I can't advertise the stream in advance on YouTube, which is a huge negative because when I do it in StreamYard, whenever I actually schedule the stream, you guys see it right away and you can be like, oh, she's going live tomorrow and this is the topic. But when I use this Rumble Studio thing, it only actually creates the stream when you go live. And I think that's a huge negative, especially since the bulk of my viewership is actually on YouTube. So it is what it is. I think this has some promise, but I think they need to make some changes. And right now, the bulk of my audience, sorry guys on Rumble, but it's just not on Rumble because I think Rumble is just a more popular platform for other types of content, not particularly the sewing community. So maybe that would change. I do like multi-streaming. I'm also on Twitch, although I get like no viewership on Twitch. So, but I do it anyways, but it has to be easy for me. The negative with StreamYard is that it is expensive and it doesn't integrate Rumble naturally. So I have to like pull up Rumble on my iPad so that I can see the chat there. So anyways, rant over, but I just wanted to explain like what's going on because it does look a lot different tonight. And I wanted to explain why, but I've definitely had some hiccups here for sure. So that's interesting. I mean, I'm glad I tried it out, but next week we're definitely going to be going back to StreamYard just because, again, I was hoping to find a lower cost option to StreamYard because StreamYard is expensive. But this Rumble Studio just does not have all the features I need. And there's some things about this that I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So we're trying it out, but yeah, tonight it's not too bad because I don't have multiple cameras, but I do sometimes use the overhead camera quite a bit. And I like to have that option. I use something called a Stream Deck on my phone, which is cool, but it wasn't recognizing. Yeah, again, I know a lot of technical talk. Sorry, guys. But it's nice for me to just be able to press a button and switch cameras. And on this StreamYard Rumble Studio, I just can't do that. So that's what's going on. I thought I would try something different. But let me know what you think. Does this look... I also don't really like that it puts Rumble Studio in the corner. I wish it had like a clean feed. But this is free. So if you are trying to get into streaming and you don't want to pay $460 a year for StreamYard, this can do guests. But it's definitely not... like from what I'm noticing so far, it's definitely not one-to-one comparable with StreamYard, which is what I normally use. So anyways, we're going to get into things shortly. I just wanted to kind of talk about what's going on because obviously it looks quite a bit different here. But before we get into things, first I want to thank everyone who's joining me live or on the replay. Just a few housekeeping rules for the chat and for comments. I just ask that you be kind, polite, and civil to myself and to the other people here, and to no political talk here. This is a politics-free zone. And tonight I really wanted to talk about fabric stores. And the reason being is that this week there was a fairly surprising announcement I saw by a fabric store that, that's kind of new to the scene. So let's talk about this. And what I'm referring to is Melanated Fabrics. So Melanated Fabrics is a fabric shop. They did do online sales, and they had an actual brick and mortar store in the Atlanta area. And it was founded by Mimi G, who I think most of us know, and Brittany Jones. I believe they were the co-owners. And this week they announced that the shop is just closing, which was quite surprising because I don't remember when they opened, but it hasn't been that long, and I thought they were doing relatively well. So they put out an announcement, and I've got some coffee tonight, so yeah, we're caffeinating it up tonight, that's for sure. So, but they put this announcement out on Instagram, so let's check this out. So it says, Thank you to everyone for being so supportive. We are thrilled to get started on new ventures and growth. Please visit melanatedfabrics.com and shop our 60% off our entire online sale. So much love, Mimi and Brittany, aka Partners for Life. So it's sort of like a carousel. And I followed these ladies for a long time. They seem very cool. I've watched quite a few of Mimi G's sewing tutorials. And she also has something called a Sew It Academy, and she's huge. So they put out this announcement. It says, Dear valued customers and supporters, it is with a blend of emotions that we announce the closure of Melanated Fabrics. First and foremost, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude for your steadfast support throughout our journey. Running a brick and mortar store has been both rewarding and challenging. While we have cherished the connections made and the vibrant community we've been part of, we have also faced the realities of balancing business demands with personal priorities. After much reflection and consideration, we have decided to prioritize our family and well being, leading us to close this chapter of Melanated Fabrics. Family is the cornerstone of our lives, and we believe that this decision will allow us to nurture those bonds and create long lasting memories together. Though we bid farewell to our beloved store, we are filled with excitement for what lies ahead. This closure marks the beginning of new opportunities and adventures. While Melanated Fabrics may no longer be a physical presence, our commitment to empowering and uplifting our community remains unwavering. We invite you to join us on this journey as we explore new avenues and endeavors. Your support has been the backbone of Melanated Fabrics, and we're grateful for every moment shared with you. Thank you for being an integral part of our story. We cherish the memories and connections forged and look forward to the future with optimism and anticipation. Although the physical doors to our Atlanta store are now closed, our online store will remain open until June. We are having a huge 60% off sale for the remaining months, so go shop. With deepest gratitude and warmest regards, Mimi G and Brittany J. Jones, owners of Melanated Fabrics. Oh, and here's a picture of the two of them together at the shop. Okay, so I checked out the shop because I was like, I want to see what they have, but are you guys surprised by this? Now, I have not personally shopped with Melanated Fabrics. I knew of it. To be real with you, I haven't bought a lot of fabric lately. Besides, ordering from my distributor, since I can order some fabric wholesale, but I've been on a fairly low fabric buy for me. So that's sort of my, where I'm coming from this. I've heard of Melanated Fabrics, but I didn't really, I had not been to the shop because I did live in Atlanta, but I lived there before Melanated Fabrics opened. And, and again, I did tend to shop more at like the fabric.coms and whatnot. So I tended to, I don't know. That's the tough thing about fabric is that fabric is so taste specific. So I've noticed certain, especially the online or the niche fabric stores, they tend to go for like, kind of a certain type of fabric or certain style. And, it's tough to move. I sell fabric myself. It's pretty hard because it is such a personal decision. So I think selling fabric is one of the harder things you can do in this space in terms of a business. I have thousands of dollars worth of fabric inventory right now, and it's been pretty. It's definitely a slow moving product. Especially if it's not like a neutral or if it's something that's like very, again, like novelty prints, stuff like that. So it's very it's tough. It's tough. So I don't know how business was going for them, but if it was slow, I can certainly understand. Plus there's the cost of having all of the overhead from a physical store. That's something that I don't deal with because I only sell on Etsy. But having all of those costs, like a physical location, getting all of the licensing required, insurance, all of that other stuff, it's tough. And I can see why. Again, we've seen a lot of local quilt shops close, fabric stores, obviously places, even like huge corporate chains like JOANN's are struggling. That it's hard. It's hard, and business is hard. And, again, and I've talked about this pretty openly. My Etsy shop just about breaks even. And I don't even have a physical location. So for everyone that's like, yeah, having a physical store is especially in the quilting or sewing, knitting, crafting space, it's tough. And again, if even JOANN's can't figure it out, like what? It's going to be even more hard. It's going to be even more difficult for a small business owner that's not able to benefit from buying in bulk and getting like the lowest volume discounts and all of that stuff. So I'm sorry to see Melanated Fabrics go, because I do think they kind of filled like a niche space, and I thought the shop looked cute. Another thing I will say is that Atlanta in particular is a tough market for physical businesses as well. And I think they had some factors that other cities did not have, because the traffic in Atlanta is freaking terrible. And I saw where the location is, and it was like in I believe it was like more in Midtown Atlanta. I used to work in downtown Atlanta, and so if you want to get anywhere in the Atlanta area, it takes forever. Even at off-peak hours. You really like if you were trying to get to like the other part of town, it's very rough, especially if you're going during like rush hour or like very popular times. And I saw that the shop was open like Monday through Friday, like 10 to 6 or 9 to 6. So the shop was not open in the evenings or on the weekends. And that would actually be like one of the better times to go to shopping, because you're not dealing as much with rush hour traffic. Like if I was trying, like I would actually, when I lived there, I would actually try to plan out what I was doing around like basically around when the traffic would be the least terrible. So I think that's another challenge that this particular store had, because it's in Atlanta and it's in an area of town. Again, a lot of people live in the burbs. Like I lived in the burbs. A lot of people live in like Cobb County or Gwinnett County. And Melanated Fabrics was in Midtown, which is like, again, it's not easy for the people who live in the burbs to get to Midtown unless it's like 3 a.m. or something like that. So I can see why they might have had some challenges that businesses in other areas might not have. Plus, having a fabric shop in general is just tough too. So sorry to see them go. Obviously, I know these ladies have a lot of other stuff going on, and I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but I was kind of bummed to see that they were closing. And I did check out the website. There's not much left. So if you're trying to get in on that 60% off sale, I was looking at the website and most of the fabric is pretty much gone already. So I was like, oh, let's see what they have. So it seems like they've already sold like sold out of a lot of stuff. So this is the website. Let's check it out. And again, I just haven't been buying a lot of fabric lately. And when I do, I typically go straight to the manufacturers because I have accounts with them. So I just haven't needed to shop a lot of like retail fabric lately. So here is but yeah, like look at, and again, maybe they've added to the stock, but like you can see out of stock. So it seems like a lot of people have, some of these fabrics are pretty cute, to be honest with you. I wish I'd known because I kind of came in late to the party here. I think they made the announcement earlier in the week, but like a lot of the fabric is just gone. So it seems like, okay, they have like this dot print. Okay. But a lot of the fabric is like, okay, they have a few things, but a lot of the stuff is already moved. So there's not a lot left. I don't know what's going to happen to the building. And I know Mimi and Brittany have a lot of other stuff going on. So they have other projects and business things. So I think they'll be okay. Let's check a look at the, okay. And here is the kind of story. Again, bummed because I don't think they've been around that, like maybe a few years or something. But, they both seem like nice ladies. And it's just sad to see any fabric store closing because we're running out of options, guys. We're just running out of options. We lost fabric.com. JOANN's is on the fritz. We lost Hancock Fabrics. Like, there's just not, like, what is left? Like, what is left? There's not a lot left for us. So that does worry me to see this pattern of fabric shops and quilt shops just shutting down because, I don't know what that, is that like a troubling sign of the times? Like, where are we going to get our supplies, guys? Not that I need any more fabric right now, but it does seem like a little bit troubling that so many of these businesses can't make it or decide to close. And it's kind of a bummer here. All right, I'm going to get rid of the chat right now. Let's see here. And to the person that says I should talk about politics, that's just, respectfully, I disagree. And we're just leaving this a politics free zone. That's just not something I want to go into here. We've got plenty of places. Here's the thing. You have plenty of other places where you can talk about politics. I think a lot of us are kind of looking for an escape from politics. So that's why I've decided not to go there. So, respectfully, there's not going to be politics here. And if there is political chit chat, you're probably going to be in a timeout. So please, I ask nicely, no politics here. And again, you can do it, if it's your live stream, you can conduct it the way you want. But I've decided here, no politics. So yeah, the chat, yeah. If you're just coming in, I am using a different live stream setup tonight, and just TLDR, I don't like it. So we're going to be going back to the old. We're going to be going back to the old method next week because this is just not working out very well. So I'm not. Yeah, so far this Rumble Studio is just not. This is just not my jam right now. Sorry guys, I tried it. I think unless they make some changes and add some features, I kind of go by which method is more cumbersome to use and which one is easier. And StreamYard is definitely easier. So we're gonna be sticking with that. Yeah. So Lisa says, too bad it was cool when Melanated opened their store. Yeah, I thought it was a neat idea. And the store looked really cute. If I was still in the Atlanta area, I would have gone to check it out, but I moved away. I moved away before they opened. But it was just a bummer to see them close, Let's take a look at some of the comments too on their Instagram post. Yeah, this method is just this streaming method. I'm just not, See, a lot of people, and that's the thing, we're losing little by little, we're just losing options for fabric shopping, Okay, so nothing's happening to Sew It Academy. Okay. And again, it seems like a lot of the quilt shops are struggling too. So a lot of these shops are just, unfortunately, also you have to keep in mind too that the overhead for these physical stores is getting more and more expensive. Everything's getting more and more expensive. If they paid rent or if they own the building, insurance, utilities, having a physical storefront is just it's a big expense. So again, my Etsy shop breaks even, and I don't even have if I had a physical storefront, I would be like really in the hole, So that's kind of a bummer. So unfortunately, we're saying goodbye to Melanated Fabrics. RIP Melanated Fabrics. And yeah, and they're not the only one I've seen. And I've also seen other online stores closing. Like, it's just, I don't know, this seems like kind of a bad omen to come, that we're seeing so many of these small businesses aimed at makers that are just not able to keep the doors open. All right, I'm going to get some coffee real quick. I've had this coffee mug forever. I've had this coffee mug for at least probably like 15 years. This is where I used to work. I used to work at this TV station. I just like the cup. So this is what I make my coffee in every day. But what does everybody think about Melanated Fabrics closing and just this pattern of local quilt shops closing and all of these like kind of supplies oriented businesses to people like us? Again, if fabric.com can't make it and they were a subsidiary of Amazon, like what does that tell you? That if they decide to close, like that's just crazy. Sorry, my hair is going kind of nuts today. I did get a haircut this week, so it's a little bit less crazy, which is cool. So I'm very sad to see the store close though. So yeah, I'm not loving. Yeah, sorry, Rumble Studio. I'm not loving this so far. The fact that I can't pull up the chats is like crazy. Oh, wait, what is this? Pin on timer? I don't know what this. I thought I was going to be able to pull the chats up, but I'm not. So that kind of stinks. So I don't know what's going on here. All right, let's pull the chat. All right, we'll put the chat up again and read a few more chats here. Yeah, really, this is like not. This is like, sorry, I'm so distracted. This is such a foreign like way of doing things for me. And this is very bizarre. So I'm like, okay. I do have it set up too. If you do like a super chat or something, I will be able to see it, I believe. I think. Okay. And I also have no control over what the live chat display looks like. So that's also kind of strange. Okay. All right. Mimi G has a lot of things going on. She's a superwoman, family first. Yeah. And I think and maybe that's one of those things where they just had so much going on that they decided that this was one thing that they, like sometimes you do get a lot on your plate and you're like, you know what, maybe I need to step back a little bit and kind of pare down what I'm doing. So it could be something like that. I don't know. All right. I'm seeing less merchandise at my local JOANN Fabrics, and they stopped advertising pattern sales online or through email. That's something I wanted to get into too, because I've seen a lot of comments talking about how it's been very confusing to figure out which sewing patterns are on sale at JOANN's. In the past, they would have it in their online flyer where they would say, hey, from this date to this date, these patterns are $1.99 or whatever. And it seems like that information is getting harder to find, which I noticed too. So that's something I did want to bring up because I was trying to figure out which pattern sales were on sale as well, which patterns were on sale as well. And it was very like, yeah, that information is not online. So that was kind of, all right. So this is the current JOANN's sales ad. And yeah, in the past, if you went to the online ad, you would be able to see all the pattern sales going on. And you can see they're not on there anymore. So it's like, how do you find out about the sewing pattern sales? Or are they kind of trying to keep it that way and create confusion? I would also like to say this about JOANN's. I'm just very confused about all of the, okay, so I'm very confused. Okay, that's not what I was going to do. Sorry, I've got all these pop-ups here. I'm very confused about all of the coupons and stuff. It's just like, look at all of this stuff. It's like 40, like this is too chaotic for me. Like they got 40% off of one regular price item, $3.99 shipping on orders, 25% off your, like, look how many coupons and like weird things they have. I'm like, what is going on here? This is like too much. This is just too hard to keep track of. And as a customer, I just feel like this is very confusing. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And I keep getting emails from JOANN's where they're like, we've got these 85 deals. And I'm like, I don't even know where to go with this. It's just not simple enough. And this is just way too confusing for me. So I'm like, yeah, I'm out. And I feel like they need to make the coupons in the online deals a little easier to understand because I'm like, I don't even know what's going on here. It's just very weird. The whole thing is very weird overall. So, all right. Materials are not affordable anymore. Yeah, things are getting really expensive. And in fact, I just got I keep getting emails from different companies saying they're increasing prices due to the rising cost of stuff. Like Emmeline Bags that sells like bag patterns and materials and hardware. I saw they're raising prices on a lot of their stuff, which again, across the board, it's definitely happening. So the cost of supplies, the cost of fabric has definitely been getting, noticeably higher in the past couple of years. Do you think the closures, is it mainly due to overhead or something else? I think the overhead has to have something to do with it because if you don't get enough sales and profit to cover the costs of all of the overhead, it just doesn't make sense. And then you have to like cut hours and then you'll make even fewer sales because you're not open as long. Even JOANN's is going through that because they've had, like, if they don't have enough employees, they have to close early or not be open at all. And that's also going to miss out on sales too. But then if you're having employees at the store and you're open, you have to generate enough in sales to cover all of those costs. It's just difficult having any sort of physical location, like a restaurant, anything like that. I think a lot of these businesses are harder. They're definitely harder to stay profitable because of all of those costs. Like, I operate on my home. This is an online only thing. And I don't have to worry as much about all of those costs as a lot of these other businesses do. So that's where it gets tricky. Lisa says it's rough keeping a business going, let alone a fabric store. With fabric so expensive and all fast fashion, how can sewing and fabric stores compete? Yeah, it's tough. I would like to see some stats on how many younger people are actually getting into activities like sewing, quilting, crocheting, knitting, because it's a lot easier to go to Target and get a t-shirt than it is to make a t-shirt, and it's more expensive to make your own clothing. Like, it's not cheaper at all. So that's the thing. Back in the day, sewing clothing was a necessity and it was less expensive than buying store-bought clothing, and now it's the opposite. So I can definitely see why fabric shops are having, and fabric is really expensive now too. I get it wholesale and I still think it's expensive for me. All right. Somebody says spoon flour is so expensive. Yeah, I have never purchased from Spoon Flour. They did send me like a book of samples years ago, but I've never ordered from them because I just thought the prices didn't make sense to me, and I just don't have a need for custom fabric. So like, I just didn't. It's not something I just had a need for, and usually I've been able to find something that was what I was looking for, and I just didn't have a need for like making my own designs or getting custom printed fabric or anything like that. So, all right, Rebecca says, I don't mind online fabric purchases from sites dedicated to fabric. My issue with Amazon is that the quality of fabric can vary wildly depending on the seller. That's very true. And the same thing with Etsy too. A lot of Etsy shops that sell fabric and supplies, like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to get, I think one benefit to Amazon is that at least their return policy is pretty easy. Etsy, maybe not so much. So, I've certainly bought some stuff from Etsy shops and whatnot. I haven't bought a lot of, I don't know if I bought fabric from Amazon really. I bought fabric from fabric.com. I don't think I've really purchased fabric since it all went to Amazon. I have purchased quite a few things from Fabric Wholesale Direct, and I have a referral link in the description box. And that one definitely is not bad. It's not like the most high tier fabric, but I also think the prices are fairly reasonable. So I've had pretty good luck with Fabric Wholesale Direct. If you're looking for like some fairly inexpensive fabric, it looks pretty good. I got to give them credit for that. And the prices are still fairly reasonable, and they have free shipping, I think over $79 or something like that. So I've had fairly good luck with that company. Shipping's fairly quick, and quality wise, it's like about what you pay for. So it's on par. I haven't been like wowed by it, but I also I don't feel ripped off shopping there either. So that one hasn't been too bad. So Fabric Wholesale Direct has been okay. Yeah, let me check. I think I do have a link I have a link in the description box to Fabric Wholesale Direct. Some other places I've shopped at are Fashion Fabrics Club. I've also heard some people recommend a couple other. We went into this a few weeks ago, and some people gave some suggestions, but it's getting hard to find like quality fabric. It really is. Okay. Let's see here. S. Chandler says, I see more channels focusing on recycling from existing clothes rather than using new fabric. I think that's a good trend. The sustainable fashion thing. You can also thrift fabrics or kind of repurpose stuff you have. Maybe you have a tablecloth, you can turn it into something else. So yeah, buying new fabric is getting very, very pricey. Mimi G's statement about closing Melanated Fabrics was that she needed to prioritize her family. I think she's burning the candle at both ends. You know, again, I don't know her personal situation, but it did seem like she, you know, obviously has a lot going on. Most of the time, the coupons don't apply because they say the product is on sale. Frustrating. Yeah, that's one thing about JOANN's. It's like, okay. I just got batiks at JOANN for $6.79 a yard on sale plus 25% at coupon. Sale is on. Coupon expired today. Awesome. Yeah, Mood Fabrics is definitely fairly expensive. I love Vogue Fabrics in Evanston with her swatch catalog, very reasonable prices. I've never ordered from Vogue Fabrics before. I think the prints quite are the stuff I've seen isn't like super up my alley. The other thing about the website is that that website seems a little bit outdated and a little bit hard to navigate. But, you know, hey, I think that's cool. Thanks for sharing your experience. Fabric Mart is good, a good spot for quality fabric that won't break the bank. Oh, so I do want to share with you guys regarding the JOANN's like pattern information. So there is a thread on patternreview.com where people have been sharing all of the pattern sales. So if you are looking to get like the scoop, it seems like people are kind of congregating on patternreview.com. And I think I did link this in the description box as well. Let me double check. Yeah, it's the thread is linked in the description box of this live stream. And people are basically sharing all of the pattern sales and kind of sharing like kind of the latest. So if you're looking for the scoop, that might be a good place to check out if you want to see where all the pattern sales are. All right, I bought a sale from, yeah, guys, the chat. I cannot deal with this chat situation here. So next week we're going back to StreamYard for sure. I bought Sati from Utsav to make a Regency inspired dress. I will let you know what it is like when I get these. Sorry, that sounds cool. Yeah, Mimi G is closing her store. That was she announced it on Instagram on the Melanated Fabrics Instagram account. So the store is closing. You can still purchase online, and they're having a sale, but it seems like a lot of the fabrics have already sold out. So those are not there anymore. So that's kind of a bummer there. I used to buy women's size clearance clothes, usually long skirts. That's a smart idea at JCPenney and cut them up for fabric. That's because yeah, there are certain types of clothing and they'll be on like the clearance rack or whatever. Maybe you guys can go to Goodwill or Salvation Army or like TJ Maxx. And if something's like, yeah, like sometimes there is just a piece of clothing with a lot of material that you might be able to do something with. All right. Yeah. Vogue Fabrics website is terrible, but their catalog is gold. Yeah, I would agree with you. So you have to go to the store to find out if the pattern's on sale. Apparently so. And here's the thing. I've heard people say maybe call the store, but from what we know, the stores are so short-staffed. I would probably dissuade you from calling the store because they might not even answer the phone. Plus, like, we don't really want to create more of a workload for the JOANN's employees. We already know many of the stores are kind of short-staffed and don't have enough people already. So we don't really want to cause these people more stress. So I would not, that's why I would not really recommend calling them. But yeah, I guess they want people to go to the store, but that's why I'm glad this thread on pattern sales is popping up. So at least people can sort of share the information. Plus, I'm wondering if maybe the sales would vary. I'm wondering, are the pattern sales across the board or do they vary depending on the store? I don't know. So that could be another question I have is like if there is a pattern sale, is it store-wide? Is it across all of the locations or just select locations? I don't even know. Okay, I like Brittany Jones' YouTube channel. She was Mimi's partner, I think. Yeah, she's Mimi. So both of them co-owned the store. Thanks for the info about the PR posts of JOANN Pattern Sales. Also wonder what is going to happen to Brittany since the store is closed. I think Brittany has some other things going on. I know she is the, here, I'll bring this up. I know she is a pattern designer for Janome Patterns. And of course, she also has like her own YouTube channel and stuff. So it does look like Brittany has some other like things happening. Let me pull this up here. So here is the Janome Pattern website. And she is, I know she's one of the designers. Plus, again, she does have her own YouTube channel. So maybe she's monetizing in other ways as well. You know, I follow her on Instagram. She has some cool content and stuff. All right, let's take a look at the designers here. All right. Here we go. All right. So here's a list. So obviously Mimi G is like kind of in charge of it. I think she founded this whole thing. And then here's all the list of all the designers here. And here is Brittany. So, I mean, I think Brittany has some other things going on. And maybe, I mean, maybe she has some projects she's working on that she hasn't announced yet. So could be a lot of other things. I have not tried. I think some of the Janome patterns look cute. Has anyone tried the Janome patterns? I have not tried any of them, but some of them look cool. I just haven't sewn a lot of clothing lately, and I've been really trying not to buy patterns. But if you've tried any of the Janome patterns, let me know what you think of them. And one thing I do like about the Janome patterns is that it looks like they have video sew-alongs for most of the pattern, which I think is huge. And I think that's something that all of the patterns, I think all of them should be doing that for most of the patterns, is having video instructions or at least showing people how to do different steps. Because I feel like their video instruction could be better. And I think that would encourage more people to sew them if they feel like they have, like, you know, more support. Obviously, some of the Big Four pattern instructions booklets can be kind of like basic and not very detailed. And I think for beginner sewists, that can be kind of, you know, that can be kind of intimidating because if you're starting out, you need more help. You know, you need more help with doing different steps and you've never done things before. So I think that's one thing that they could have done better. Okay. Okay, so somebody says the pattern sales are across the board. So that's good to know. So if someone's like, hey, McCall's is $1.99, that means hopefully that they're it's the same at all of the JOANN stores. All right. The Janome patterns are great. They each have sew-alongs for each. Yeah, that's one thing. I think that's one thing they really did right is having those sew-along videos for all of the patterns, from what I can tell, because that really helps. And I'm very visually oriented and I like video myself in terms of learning. So I think the fact that they are doing that for all the patterns, I think that could help with the sales because I'm more likely to buy a pattern if there is a step-by-step video. That's just the way I am. Janome patterns are very advanced, but the sew-alongs by the designers are great. Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a really cool thing. And I think more pattern, I think a lot of the indie pattern designers should be doing that too. Some of them will have sew-alongs on their blog, but again, I'm very video oriented. So if there is no video sew-along, I'm a lot less likely to purchase the pattern. Like that's just the way it is for me. I'm going to get some coffee real quick. And I do have kind of an update also on the JOANN situation. There was an article and it's linked in the description as well. Here, let me get rid of the chat real quick. All right, I'm trying to figure this out here. Yeah, this interface is like very weird. All right, Lisa says, I've been buying men's 3X sweatshirts to repurpose. Hey, why not? And you can get some nice quality fabrics that way too. Now's the time to check out the clearance racks in retail stores. Yeah, I mean, with the price of fabric, I mean, you might as well. The Big Four pattern company is doing more and more PDF patterns. Hope that doesn't mean they will be trying to phase out paper patterns, which is common overseas. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I went into this in a previous live stream, but I think they should price the PDF patterns lower than the paper patterns. Right now, they're charging the same price, and that doesn't make any sense. I would prefer, if they are going to do the PDF patterns, they should at least have them be a little bit less expensive than the paper patterns. Because if you have to print it out yourself or take it to a print shop, that costs money. And then you end up paying more than the paper pattern. So, yeah, that's what I think. All right, let me get rid of the chat for a little bit because I want to look into this. Actually, I guess we'll leave it up. It's not too, hopefully it's not too like invasive here. I don't know. Also, I did try to add some fun. All right, we got some tickers here. So we got some stuff going on. So we'll leave this up for a while. So I tried to kind of customize this. Here's the thing. I also want to know, like, if I can recreate this template so I don't have to do everything over again. I don't know. And that's something I would find out. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to be going back to StreamYard next week because this is just not working out. This is just not working out that great. But I want to show you this because so there was an article on this site called American Banking News, and apparently they reported that JOANN's was the target of unusually high options trading this week. So somebody seems to think they have the scoop on something, whether I don't know what that is. I'm not a stock market expert, and just a quick disclaimer, this is not financial advice at all. But this article says JOANN was the recipient of some unusual options trading activity on Thursday. Stock traders purchased 2,900 put options on the company. This represents an increase of 2,100%. That's a lot compared to the average daily volume of 134 put options. So somebody thinks something's happening with JOANN's. So shares of JOANN opened at 50 cents Friday. JOANN has a 52-week low of 39 cents and a 52-week high of $3.59. The firm has a market capitalization of $20.89 million, a PE ratio of, I don't know what that means. The stock has a 50-day moving average price of 50 cents and a 200-day moving price of 65 cents. So here's all the mumbo jumbo of JOANN's. Hedge funds weigh in on JOANN's. Hedge funds and other institutional investors have recently added to or reduced their stakes in the company. Bank of New York Mellon Corp raised its position in shares of JOANN by 10.5% during the first quarter. Bank of New York Mellon Corp now owns 330,000 shares. That's interesting. So they bought a bunch of shares of the company's stock valued at $3.7 million after buying an additional 31,000 shares during the period. Rumbline Advisors, don't know what any of these things are, acquired a new position in shares of JOANN in the first quarter worth $122,000. Vanguard Group, Inc. grew its stake in shares of JOANN by 1.5% in the first quarter. Vanguard Group, Inc. now owns 665,000 shares of the company's stock worth $7.5 million after acquiring an additional 10,000 shares in the last quarter. So I wonder if they think something's going to happen. Maybe like I don't know. Like, who knows? Okay. Charles Schwab Investment Management, Inc. grew its stake in shares of JOANN by 21% during the first quarter. Charles Schwab now owns 29,900 shares of the company's stock worth $342,000 after purchasing an additional 5,100 shares in the last quarter. Finally, Invesco Limited acquired a new position in shares of JOANN during the first quarter worth $640,000. Huh. What do they know that we don't? Analyst ratings changes. A number of research firms have commented on JOANN. Wells Fargo and Company reduced their price objective on shares of JOANN from $1.50 to 75 cents and set an equal weight rating for the company in a research note on Tuesday. That was in December. Telsey Advisor Group cut their price objective from $1.50 to $1 and set a market perform rating on the stock in a research report on Thursday, November 30th. So what do we think about this? Any predictions for JOANN's? I don't know. Should we buy the stock? I don't know. This is crazy. Like, this is all, I mean, the stock is like 50 cents. Like, that's pretty freaking bad. I don't know what's going on, but this is super crazy. Like, that's, yeah. So that is the latest on JOANN's. Where that's going, I honestly don't know. I guess I'll be following I'll follow the stock. We'll put this up. So the stock closed over on Friday at 51 cents. I mean, yeah, this is like, we've already gone in this, but this is not great. I guess I'll follow this. I guess it'll update me if something's going on. I'm really curious to see what happens to this company. Like, yeah. Here's the financials here. Revenue down, net income down, net profit margin down, operating income, that's down 73%. That's not great. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I mean, we don't really, here's the thing. I don't want to lose, as a customer and a shopper, I don't really want to lose JOANN's because we really don't have that many options. You know what I'm saying here? So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So, what does everybody think? What's going to happen? All right, any predictions for what happens to JOANN this year? Okay, wow, the chat's going crazy here. Okay. All right. Okay, so I have a few live streams that are like a few months old on the channel about JOANN's. Yeah, those seem to be the most popular live streams and videos on the channel for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, can't see white font on the ticker. I know. All right, market manipulation. Okay. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for Jen. We need to support our sewing channel so they don't go away like the fabric stores. Yeah, it's the thing. If, that could affect me too. Like, if nobody's sewing, who's going to watch us? That's the thing. The reason I do this channel is I want to get I want to get people in general more interested in sewing. But in particular, we really need younger people to get into sewing because this industry is not going to make it if there are no younger people who are interested in it. So I do this because I really want to try to encourage people, who are like Gen Z or Gen Alpha. I don't even know what they're calling all of these things now because I'm old, guys. I'm pretty old. I'm middle aged. I know it might be kind of hard to guess. I am over 40, so I would be considered middle aged. So I'm not like a young kid. But I want to do my part and try to encourage younger people to sew and anybody to sew, really. But we really do need to get the younger crowd interested in this because otherwise there's not going to be enough economic activity to really support sewing supplies, fabric, quilt shops, any sewing related businesses. They're just not going to exist. And it's going to be super niche and hard to find. So I'm trying to do my part here. Believe me, I could be making a lot more money doing something else. Like I was reading that, what was it? There was apparently if you're like a Wawa gas station manager, you can make 6 figures. So I was like, that's not bad. That'd be more than I'm making now, but I don't know. All right. They haven't done anything that would make me want to buy more stock. Yeah, I know, right? Like, the business moves are very puzzling here. This looks like the next GameStop stock scam. Yeah, maybe I should check out the Wall Street Bets subreddit and see what people are like see if anyone's talking about it there. I hope they recover because unlike so much of their fabrics, Hobby Lobby is not closed and my Walmart doesn't have a lot of variety. Yeah. Would Michaels buy JOANN's? I really don't know. Somebody needs and right now, if you're not aware, there is a private equity group and they own like 67% of all of the JOANN stock. So JOANN's is actually pretty much run by a private equity firm. It's not by like real stockholder, it's not by like regular people. That's what Hertz was like before bankruptcy. Yeah. You have to know when to buy and when to get out when buying stocks. Yeah. And I'm not great. Like, I'm definitely not like a stock expert. So, yeah, I'm about as credible as Jim Cramer with the stock picks. So, yeah, I don't know. Just hit the like button. Thank you. Maybe those companies foresee a need for material for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Boomers. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm kind of a boom. I have boomer energy. That's for sure. The problem is the schools are not teaching sewing these days. Like, what are they teaching? Like, do they still have home ec or like some? Because I remember when I was in school, in middle school, we had I had to take a shop class, so I actually learned like woodworking and metal stuff. And my teacher was like really weird too. He was a very strange guy. Like, this guy would throw stuff at, this was back in the day where you could still do this sort of stuff and get away with it. But my shop teacher, I'm not joking. His name was Mr. Wilhelm. Behind his back, some of my classmates called him Kaiser Wilhelm. Again, probably that wouldn't fly today. And I remember this guy, he was like an older man. He would like throw stuff at this, like he would throw trash cans around, and he would, like, those big erasers they have at the chalkboard. This guy would throw erasers at the kids. Like, I'm not joking. This was in like 7th grade or something. He would probably have gotten fired if he was working today, because you can't do that. You definitely can't do that now, or like get physical with the students. I had a music teacher who was really crazy too. And I'll never forget, this lady was like kind of nuts. And she picked up this kid by his ear one day and like made him cry. Like, this lady was like real kind of psycho. She would probably have been like in jail now, because you just can't, like, you definitely can't do that to kids now. But I remember her like picking this boy up by the ear. She was the music teacher. She was kind of out there. So yeah, a lot of the stuff that happened back in the day, yeah, you definitely couldn't get away with now. And I took a home ec. So like that same period, like one semester you took the shop class, and then the other semester you took like home economics or whatever it was. So we learned like cooking, and we did do some sewing, and that was actually kind of fun. Although the sewing machines we used were like very frustrating to use. They were like older, but like they didn't work very well. So that was like what I remember from home economics. All right, let's see the comments. There was a story a few months ago about that the big 4 pattern companies had issues with parts on the machines for the paper patterns since they are very old. I can see that, how like maybe they need new machinery or something. That's got to be pretty expensive. I teach at a local sewing education studio, and the owner has ongoing sewing classes. She has seen more 30-something plus people who want to sew. Good news. That is good. I'm glad to see the 30-somethings. Guys, we need the teens. We need the 20-somethings too. So I don't know how we get through to them. I'm trying. I'm boomer too, so I don't and I'm not in with the TikTok crowd, so I don't even know what these kids are into, but we got to try. JOANN's will file Chapter 11 to offload the huge debt that private equity stuck them with. Same thing that happened to Michaels. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what is going on with that company, but it's crazy. I hope if Michaels buys it, there are more fabrics to their inventory, because right now they have only a few online at their stores done. Yeah, Michaels doesn't really sell fabric. I've seen some pre-cuts at Michaels, but I haven't seen like, anything substantial. Does Walmart still sell fabric? I think they were phasing it out, and IKEA stopped selling fabrics in the United States. So you used to be able to buy fabrics at IKEA, and actually for a while Walmart had a decent selection of fabric too, but it seems like they're really getting away from that too. I had a fabulous sewing teacher that helped spur on my whole career. The sewing world had a few kook teachers. Yeah, I had some weird teachers. Like, I think a lot of us did if you went to school in like the 80s and the 90s, definitely the 70s too. But yeah, some of the teachers I had were they would definitely have been fired or in jail today, because like they did some stuff that was like, that would not be okay today. Let's just go with that. Your shop teacher sounds like my typing teacher back in the day. He carried a baseball bat and hit the desk when he saw you looking at the keys. To this day, I hate typing. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that guy would be in jail. Like, let's be real, he would be in jail now. Like, one of the parents would have called the cops. Yeah, you definitely you can't be doing that now. And it was never okay. Like, the guy throwing erasers and trash cans around, like, that should have never been okay to begin with. But yeah, some of the teachers were like kind of scary back then. Um yeah, I had some weird who did anyone else have like some weird teachers, or like maybe your teacher got arrested? Oh, I had in 4th grade, I had a teacher who apparently had some alcohol issues. So he was my homeroom teacher and he was also the math teacher. I'm not going to say his name. But here's the thing, he was like a fun teacher, but he didn't teach us anything. He definitely did not teach us math at all. And he would say, so obviously I'm Asian, and he said some stuff to me that also probably wouldn't fly today. So when I was a kid, I'm Korean, and there was I think she was Japanese. There was a figure skater who was in the Olympics named Christy Yamaguchi. She was very popular, 2 or 3 decades ago. And this particular teacher once told me, I'm not joking, he said, "Hey, Jennifer, you should write to Christy Yamaguchi and tell her you're her long lost sister so you can get free Olympics teacher." And no joke, this guy was kind of like a bigger guy too. He was kind of heavier set. He went into like a figure skating pose as he was telling me this. And I was like, even then I was like, that's a little weird. During the math class, instead of actually us doing math, he would just let us do whatever we wanted, and we never actually did the lessons. So he was like a fun teacher, but he wasn't actually really teaching us anything. He suddenly disappeared like about halfway through the year. And apparently he had some, allegedly, from what I hear, I was like 8, so I'm probably not remembering everything super accurately, but the rumor was that he was showing up to school. He'd been drinking at school. So he disappeared. And then we got this substitute teacher. And the substitute teacher, she actually at least taught us a little bit more than this other guy. She was a substitute teacher, and she was also a waitress at Red Lobster. So she told us a lot of stories about working at Red Lobster for some reason. She was a little bit better than this other guy. But yeah, that whole year was kind of strange. All right. Young people like thrifting and thrift flips. I work at a college, and that seems to be their thing. I would like to do a little bit more of that stuff. I'm not very good at it. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm really glad though. A few weeks ago, I covered NFL wife Kristen Juszczyk. She's been doing a lot of upcycling and repurposing, and she seems to be pretty hot. So I'm like, we need more people like that. I should probably get into that more. Maybe this year, once I open the Ditto pattern projector, which I still have not done. But we need people like that. She's making sewing look really cool, and she's very attractive, so that can't hurt. So maybe that'll help. All right, Sarah J says, no sewing here at high schools in the UK. That's very sad. Our local Walmart recently added fabric to the store. That's awesome. Sometimes the 20s and teens are so involved in so many find activities that unless they have sewing friends, they don't dedicate the time till they settle down. Okay, so maybe like if, they have kids and they're trying to make stuff, like a lot of people like got into quilting to make like baby quilts. So maybe stuff like that. All right, here we go. Let's look at the chat here. My son made a pillowcase in sewing class in 7th grade. In 8th grade, they made sleep pants. I don't think they had any classes available in high school. That is a bummer. All right, my Walmart, Lisa says my Walmart still has fabric, but it's much smaller than before lockdown. Yeah. The Walmarts in my area stopped carrying fabric, while my Michaels have a couple aisles of fabric, including garment type ones. That's good. I think you are not old enough to be a boomer. You are young, Gen X at oldest, and most likely younger. I think my boys are Gen Y. So I think I'm technically a very old millennial, like the oldest millennial that can be possible. I think that's where I fall in there, but I am over 40. So just to let you know. All right, making your dreams come true is in the house. Hello. No one is assigned to cut fabric at Walmart. I took the bolt to the register. They charged me for 1 yard for the whole bolt. So you got a whole bolt of fabric for the price of 1 yard? That's really funny. I remember Christy Yamaguchi. I used to watch her figure skating competitions. She was 2 times world champion and Olympics champion. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't even look like her, and we're not even like the same ethnicity. So like this guy was just like kind of out there. In the early 1970s, when I was in high school, the typing teachers would hit your hands if you looked down at the keyboard. So I took a typing class in middle school as well. My teacher was wonderful. Her name was like Mrs. Duquesne, I think, or Mrs. Duquesne, and she was great. And her typing class, we learned on actual typewriters. That's how old I am. To this day, that's probably one of the best classes I've ever taken in my life because I'm a very good typist now. And I would not be a good typist if not for that class. It was called Keyboarding 101 or Keyboarding 1 or something. And she was very nice. She didn't like hit her hands or anything. What she would have us do is we would like memorize all the keys on the keyboard. And then she had us take a piece of paper and tape it over the typewriter so that we couldn't see the keys. And to this day, I can now type without looking down. It's a really good skill to have. And I think keyboarding classes should be mandatory in schools. Like it helped me so much. And to this day, I'm an excellent typist, all thanks to that like one class in middle school. Yeah, what's up with all these typing teachers who are hitting you? I don't understand that. When I buy a new sewing machine, one of my kids or neighbors always wants the old one. That's a good sign. That's a very good thing. I'm going to get some water real quick here. And by the way, thanks to everyone joining in tonight. I think this is the most live viewers we've had at one time on all of the platforms. It's a shame this Rumble Studio is not better because I would like to give it a chance because I like that you can see all the chats, but I thought it would have the tool to like pull out individual chats and it doesn't. So I'm like, I don't know what's up with that. So that's kind of a bummer. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to go back to StreamYard because it just, that's the thing. Neither of those tools have everything I want, but StreamYard has more of the features that I need. So I'm kind of bummed, but it is what it is. Typing was the best skill I learned in school, right? I mean, it was great. I was able to take elective sewing classes all through high school, made sewing my lifetime career thanks to those opportunities. That's amazing. And clear by your username, which is Let's Go Sew with JOANN Banco. Very cool. Very cool. But yeah, I really thought with this Rumble Studio, I would be able to like pull out all the chats. To display them prominently like I normally do, but I can't. So that kind of stinks. It is what it is. I don't know what else to do, but yeah, I don't know. That's definitely kind of disappointing for sure. And sorry, I'm going to mute myself real quick because I have to like cough. All right, great live show today. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's funny because I wasn't sure how this would go trying out a new setup. We've had like the most live viewers I've ever had like in the history of doing this. I also think it kind of helps that I've been pretty good about going live on Sunday nights. And I haven't really skipped a week since we've started. And I think this 6 p.m. time works out pretty well. So I think we're going to keep going with 6 p.m. Next week we'll be back with StreamYard because this interface is just not what I thought it was going to be. I'm really bummed though because I thought I was going to be able to pull up all of the chats and I can't. So I can just do this little display thing where like the chats are like right here, but like that's just too small. Like I feel like that's too small for people to see. Yeah, I don't know what electives they offer in school either now. I don't have any kids, and it's been like over 20 years since I was in high school, so I have I went to school in the 90s, so I haven't been Thank you. It's a good like. What do you guys like about this? Is it just that we're chatting? Like, what is it that you like about this? I wanted to have something where we could all come and just chit chat. People could meet each other. We could, participate, that sort of thing. But let me know what you like about these shows. And I try to find topics to cover, although sometimes there's not a lot going on. Like sometimes there's more going on than other times. Yeah, I really wish you could show the chats. Let me see if there's a way to do it. I don't know. Let's look at the like to stream. Yeah, I'm really trying to like see what's going on here. Because I really thought I was going to be able to pull up each chat like individually like I normally do, but it seems like I can't. So I don't know. All right. Gilbert says, I have to sew buttons on for people because they don't know how or have a needle and thread, really. I know. And that's the thing with YouTube. You can look up anything on YouTube. So people should be able to like do that, But that's the thing. I feel like there's kind of a learned helplessness as well going on with some people where the answers are out there, but they want someone to hold their hand the whole way. And that's unfortunate. Like you could just look anything up and figure out how to do it. But these people are like, I need someone to show me how to, it's like, look, if you can't look up a YouTube video or look up like Wikipedia or something or Google something, that's kind of on you at that point. So I'm like, I don't know. So, okay. So Lovely with Grace says, Jen, you are very engaging with the chat. I really try to be like, that's the whole point about this show. And that's also why I want to reward people that actually check out the live show. Like if you want to get questions answered or if you want to tell me something, and again, I've had an issue lately where people are using Etsy Messenger or like trying to DM, and I just don't want to do that. So I try to tell people like, hey, go watch Sewing Report Live. If you have a question for me, I'll try to answer it, as long as it's not inappropriate or something, I'll answer it. Because I really do want to reward people that actually show up live. So that, like that's the whole thing. It's viewer participation and it's a way for me to talk to you directly, and it benefits everyone because this is public. So like if you have a question, someone else might have the same question, but if I'm answering it with you live, other people can see it. If you're DMing me and I would do that, give people one-on-one help, then you don't get like the benefit of everyone seeing it, so that's why I really try to like, try to reward people who actually show up for these live shows by reading your chat, answering your questions because you actually showed up, All right. What else do I want to talk about? There's a couple other things too. But yeah, I do wish this Rumble Studio was better because I would use it, but here's the thing. Even tonight, the bulk of the audience is on YouTube, and I really do need to prioritize the YouTube audience because you guys are the ones this is the platform that has the most viewers, and that's kind of just the way it works. But there are things I don't like about StreamYard as well, especially the price since it's expensive to use. And this thing is free. So I was kind of hoping it would be better, but it's just kind of not. So it is what it is. All right. Angel says they don't even teach cursive writing in school anymore. That is because I actually do like cursive writing. And that is something that we learned in school that I guess people aren't learning. I guess people aren't learning anymore, are they? I don't know. What's everybody up to this weekend? Were you working on a sewing project? Or are you guys just hanging out? What's going on here? What is going on? Yeah, and the other thing I don't like about Rumble Studio is that, again, I can't, like, it doesn't actually create the stream until it starts. With StreamYard, you can actually see the stream in advance, so it kind of is better for advertising. And I can make change. I have to always make changes in the settings anyways, and I couldn't do that very easily with Rumble Studio. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying not to. Here's the thing. The thing you guys don't see is that anytime, even with just making the videos, there's a lot of behind the scenes technical stuff that you don't see. And then I have to really troubleshoot beforehand. So I'm like, okay, is this going to work? Is this going to work? Even if I get a new camera or something, I have to spend a lot of time figuring out the settings and then running like tests with it and experimenting with it so I can get something usable. And with live streaming, there's just a lot of technical stuff that goes on that, you know, it is what it is, so it's not easy to do. Like, and hats off, there are people that stream for like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I even find doing 2 hours a week to be kind of stressful for me. Again, I think if these shows do better, I would definitely do more streaming, and it kind of depends on like the viewership and whatnot. But I'm trying to at least be consistent with Sunday nights so that y'all know that this is something that we do every week. Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And I usually stream for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. But, we have fun. We talk about different sewing topics. And I do like that, at least with live streams, you can kind of watch, like it has like a DVR function. So you can kind of start at the beginning, even if you're coming in late. Or you can watch, just straight up live, even if you miss the first part. But then you can watch the replays. There's a lot of good things I do like about live streaming. All right, keyboard skills. All kids have tablets or laptops in my school district now. Wow. So how do kids learn typing now? Is there a class or like what do they do? All right, non-sewers start at can't and go down from there. Have you made anything else on the sketch this week? I was actually planning to, but then I had some other stuff get in the way. I do have some baby gifts I'm planning to make on the sketch this week. I at least got my like embroidery files together, so I at least accomplished that. Gilbert says, I like chatting. Some channels lives have a couple thousand people and it goes so fast you can't read. That is a good thing about like smaller streamers is that your chat actually gets read without you super chatting. When you get to the bigger streamers or the streamers that have like hundreds or thousands of viewers, it starts getting kind of chaotic. And the only way your chat stands out is if you super chat. So that is one good thing. Yeah, if it is free, maybe you will. Yeah, I do like that it's free, but it definitely is missing some features that I kind of need. So I know. And that's the thing. I just renewed my StreamYard subscription a couple months ago. So I have like 10 months left that I've already paid for. So I might as well use it. If Rumble Studio gets better in that time, awesome. Then maybe I would think about switching. But right now, it does seem like right now I kind of have to have StreamYard for what I need to do. All right, writing new info for a sewing blog titled Custom Quilting with Your Sewing Machine. Very cool. All right, my scrapping mama says snipped threads on a large quilt and packaged it up for long arming. That was quite a challenge. The more threads I trimmed, the more that appeared. That always works like that, isn't it? Like you trim the threads and then you're like, you always find more. You can't appreciate the time to prep for a live show unless you have done it. Appreciate all the effort, Jen. Thank you very much. I teach cursive to students. They need it in order to read historical documents. That's true. Soon it will be required in elementary schools. All right, Sarah is watching the World Junior Figure Skating Championship. That's awesome. Tired of Troll says, I live in Missouri. Okay, a legislator is bringing back cursive in school because she left a note to an intern. Came back 2 weeks later and he hadn't done anything because he claimed he couldn't read the note. That is so sad. And that's a good point, though. You should be able to read cursive. And if you can't, that's definitely a problem. Gilbert is doing yard work. It's in the 50s today in March in Minnesota. All right. Oh, boy. Wow. Global warming is real. Tired of Troll says, I think that the problem wasn't lack of cursive, but lack of communication. That's true. The intern could have just said, hey, I can't read, like they probably should have said something a little earlier. All right. There are websites for learning how to type. Yeah, I've actually gone to a couple websites where you can like test how fast of a typist you are. And it gives you like exercises and it can tell you like how fast you type. I thought that was pretty cool. I love the way the internet brings sewing enthusiasts together for interesting sewing chat. By third grade, students should know how to type because state tests are all computerized. That's true. I'm working on Simplicity 8747. It's a vintage pattern. Very cool. A skirt suit. I'm making view A and C. I'm using the same fabric for the jacket and skirt. That sounds like fun. I'm painting my sew assist. What's that? I don't know what that is. I do wish this chat looked different. I can't change it. I feel like the chat's too small and it's hard to see. And I really wish that I could do the multicam on this, but I can't. So that might be a problem. Can kids even print right? I don't even know. I don't even know. Yeah, I can't believe I'm drinking coffee at 7:30 at night. That's okay. All right, my son can't sign his name. He's 22. What does he do? Like, how does he sign? If he needs a signature on something, what happens then? Sorry, guys. I just need to take a quick drink of water here. But yeah, we have about 83 live viewers currently, which is awesome. We're just chilling. We're doing sewing chat here. All right, Lisa is making bowl cozies for birthday gifts. That's a good idea. Good old standby. That sounds like fun. And that's the thing. I'm glad people are like meeting other people in the chat. That's what I actually like when I'm participating in other people's chat. I I think the chat is a big plus for live streams. Not only a live streamer, but you get to talk to people, you get to meet new people. And I find it's a really good, like, sort of community, like, kind of hub. You know what I mean? That's why I wanted to do something like this, was so people could come together and we have a place to, like, chit chat and stuff. So that's sort of the purpose. The 22-year-olds use DocuSign. That's true. It kind of does, like, the auto thing. But yeah, I can't imagine not knowing how to write cursive. Like, that's kind of crazy. That's pretty crazy. Yes, kids can print, but they need to be taught how to hold a pencil properly and the correct stroking order. Oh my gosh. They also need to be taught how to use the lines to size and place. What is going on, guys? What is going on? Like, I don't know. It seems like there's a real lack in, like, not just teaching children things, but teaching them, like, how to figure out something they don't already know. Like, I talk to a lot of, like, Gen Z kids or people in their, like, teens and 20s, or people, like, will try to leave comments and stuff. And I just find a lot of people, like, not only do they not know things, but they don't know how to find the answers that they need. And I think that's something that needs to be taught to kids is, like, if you don't know something, how to look it up, how to, like, cite sources, how to figure out whether something's credible or not. Like, how to research, how to do your own research. Like, that seems to be lacking. Like, how to figure things out for yourself. There are a few things more personal than your own signature. Yeah, if you're using DocuSign, man, you got problems there. That's pretty crazy. My son, who is 24, his was the last year to learn cursive. Okay, that's sad. Oh, so Oasis. So, okay, that's a good name. So rhymes with Oasis. Okay. What the heck did they teach them in school? I don't know what they're teaching. Like, it's just crazy. And you see all these, like, viral videos in schools, and they're all, like, nuts, you know? I don't know. Yeah, they need to learn how to problem solve life skills. That's the thing. Like, they need to learn how to Like, if you don't know like, that's the thing. There's going to be all kinds of things you don't know, but you need to have the skills to get answers to the things you don't know, or like how to problem solve without someone holding your hand and doing it for you, because that's the truth. You're just not going to have that in real life. You know what I mean? How to use the library's card catalog, that would drive the kids nuts. Yeah, like, do kids because I remember learning that in school, how to use the card catalog and do like the Dewey Decimal System. Is that still taught? I don't even know. Yeah, but yeah, kids definitely need to learn how to find the answers. Okay, so I have a fun story for you. I'm 23 and couldn't stand cursive. All right, we got a 20 something in the chat. All right, so I want to ask you, Kadeem, like, all right, so you're 23. Did you learn cursive in school? One of the coolest things about modern technology is to be able to scan your signature and print and embroider. That is a good thing, you be able to do that. Although, would that make it easier for someone to like forge your signature? Is that dangerous? You know what I'm saying here? Is that kind of a dangerous thing? I don't know. All right, I'm going to take off the ticker real quick. All right, we're going to take this off for a little bit. Oh, and I have some sound effects. I've got like, this goes well. I've got keyboard typing now. So I got, the one good thing is I could easily add sound effects here. So that was cool. Yeah, keyboard typing. I've got the pop sound. I also have like a cha-ching stuff. Or if I get like a super chat or something, I could do that. I got a car crash too, and I've got like a crowd cheering. So that's some fun stuff here in case the situation came up. I could use, so that there is some cool stuff I did like about this, but yeah, I'm like, I feel like this is just lacking some features here. All right, Kadeem, I'm in the UK and we did learn to do it, but it was always hell for me. I'm also left-handed. I am left-handed too, Kadeem, and I will tell you this. It's tough. It's tough to be a lefty. Although I do a lot of things with so I write with my left hand, but I do a lot, like I cut with my right hand. So I can use like regular cutting utensils and like rulers and stuff. So I don't need like left-handed rulers or rotary cutters. But I will say this. I don't have it with me. Recently, I found some they're pens for left-handed people. And they have like kind of an ergonomic design, allegedly, to make it easier for lefties. But the coolest thing about these pens, just look up left-handed pens on Amazon, is that the ink dries pretty fast. So you get less ink smudging on y'all know what I'm talking about. You get less ink smudging on this part of your hand. So look up the left-handed pens. I find the ergonomic design was kind of like BS. I was like, I don't know if this is helping me, but the fact that the ink dries pretty quickly, I have found to be helpful, just in the sense that when I'm writing, because you go from left to right, I'm getting less pen all over I'm getting less ink on my hand. So the left-handed pens are pretty dope. I'm a fan. All right, I do grace. All right, we got a 20-something who sews. That is awesome. All right, Kadeem, I want to ask you, what motivated you to start sewing? Since you're a Gen Z, or I think you're Gen Z, what motivated you to start sewing? All right, I asked my students how would they find the meaning of a word and it's at their fingertips. It took a few minutes and one student opened his Chromebook. That's good. I am a pen pal for a 5th grader. We have to print because they don't teach cursive. Wow. Okay, yeah, I like the sounds. So that's one good thing about Rumble Studio, is that I can do these fun sound effects. That was cool. All right, I'm one of the oldest on my block, and I have to fix all their computers, even my son's. Yeah, I read a couple articles that Gen Z has trouble with like actual computers because they're used to doing everything on their phone. And I think that makes sense. Like, if it's not an app, like I heard a lot of Gen Zers or younger people are having trouble with like even like saving a file or like doing like random basic computer tests because they've always had phones and iPads and they have done everything on the phone. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. Yeah, fast drawing pens are like, yeah, those left-handed pens, I was like, wow, these are amazing. I did textiles for a bit back in 2012 in school, but didn't really touch my sewing machine for years after that. Picked it up again last year after having to fix a coat pocket. That's amazing. Well, very cool that you are sewing in your 20s. Tell all your friends, get other people interested. You know, I think that's like, I think it needs to be like a trend. You know what I mean? Like like the Stanley Cups or whatever is a trend. And I think that definitely helps. You know what I'm saying here? Okay, I have a fun story. Okay, I'm not trying to like dog on Gen Zers. Please don't take this personally if you are a Gen Zer. But I do have like a story about some Gen Z coworkers. So I'm in my 40s, right? So I'm kind of a dinosaur at work. I'm a former news producer. And if you're kind of new here, I was for about 5 years. I was a CNN producer in Atlanta, and we started getting a lot more like Gen Z employees in like my tenure there. So a lot of like the recent hires were like new college grads. They were like 22, 23, 24, those ages. And there were a lot like what happens in newsrooms is the older employees, like the more experienced employees, are too expensive. So a lot of newsrooms are phasing out the more experienced employees and replacing them with younger employees that don't cost as much. So like you might have like a 55-year-old in the newsroom. They get laid off, given a severance package or like a buyout package offered to like older employees. And then that person, so they say like the 55-year-old employee was making like $90,000 a year. They would replace that person with a 25-year-old employee and pay them $60,000 a year. There's a lot of that going on in the media industry. And here's what I was finding out with a lot of the younger employees is I was finding a lot of that, like, they just lacked a lot of critical thinking skills that the older employees had. So here's just one example, but this type of thing happened all day long. So one time I was sending out an article around the newsroom. It was about like some sort of crime that happened at a McDonald's, right? So I sent out like some information about what happened and an article from one of the local news affiliates we had. Just a basic article about what happened at the McDonald's, right? So I sent it out, and then this like young Gen Z coworker who worked for like the digital department, so they wrote the articles for CNN.com. So I get this email from like the Gen Z coworker, and this may make me like boomer energy and all that because like the get off my lawn type. So I get this email from the Gen Z coworker, and it said something like, hey, can you get us contact information for the McDonald's because we would like to reach out to the McDonald's. I think the story had something to do with like, there was some like viral video involving like the surveillance video or cell phone video at the McDonald's. So they're like, hey, can you get us the contact information from the McDonald's? We'd like to reach out to the store. So here's the thing. If you just read the article, like someone with any level of like, critical thinking skills, you could have read the article and pretty easily figured out the location of the McDonald's. Like the article had like the location as far as the city and the state that the McDonald's was in. And it also had like the intersection of streets. Like it would be like 34th Street and Central Avenue, something like that. So if I saw the article and I needed the information, I could look at Google Maps, find that intersection in that city, look up the McDonald's on Google Maps, and get like the phone number from there. It'd be pretty easy. You know what I'm saying here? This Gen Z person, coworker, and this just sort of is an example of like the mentality of some, again, I'm not trying to be offensive here, some Gen Z people or younger people. This person read the article and could not deduce that information from the article, even though it was like fairly obvious. So I wrote back and I said, hey, I don't, and they actually wanted me. So like I had gotten the story from like one of our local affiliates. They wanted me to reach out to the local affiliate and get contact information for the McDonald's. There was no need to do that. Like from the article, I could figure out the exact location of that McDonald's store pretty easily. And then I could just Google the store and find a phone number, which is kind of what I told them. I was like, hey, there's really no need to call them. Here is like the Google info for the McDonald's. That's just sort of like what I had to deal with a lot at work. And I think maybe a lot of the people my age and older are kind of running into that a lot with some of the younger employees. Again, it's not everybody. I'm not trying to like make generalizations, but this was just something I found a lot with like the 20-something colleagues. And this was at CNN, so I don't know. And I'm finding that even with this like YouTube channel and stuff, I'll get questions that people could just easily Google, you know what I mean? And I'm like, really? I don't know. So there's a lot of people out there, unfortunately, that seem to need like a crazy level of hand-holding because they were not taught how to problem solve on their own. So I don't know. I know that was kind of a long story, but just sort of one example. And I think that's sort of that general trend is sort of bleeding over into many different areas. So it can be a little bit frustrating. And I wonder, again, I don't have children and I'm not a teacher, but you kind of wonder, like, you just wonder, like, what is being missed here? Because clearly there are some holes in education, whether it's at home, whether it's at school, I don't know. But a lot of these kids are lacking some basic life skills. You know what I'm saying here? And that's not the only example I have. That's just like one example of many. All right. Hibiscus Dream says, hello, everyone. Hi, Jen. I was using my Grace Baby Lock last week and my horizontal spool pin sheared off. Has anyone heard of something called Thread Director 1 or 2? I have Thread Director 2, and it is very nice. So it's hard to get. I got mine sent to me from Nancy's Notions, but it appears they don't sell them anymore. But I do have a Thread Director 2, and I do find it pretty helpful. That's what they do for hiring teachers. Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to, but okay. All right. Offering to teach someone that is young is a great way to spread the love of sewing. I also paid for lessons for 3 great nieces to give them the chance to see if they liked it. That's a good idea. And that's one of the reasons why I do the main channel is to try to offer a free education for people who are interested. And again, here's the thing. I'm not able to do like one-on-one lessons or anything like that or in-person lessons. So like my way of contributing is trying to provide a resource at scale to try to help the most amount of people, And again, if you have sewing skills, do a YouTube channel, do a blog, try to offer some, online, sharing here so you can share your own knowledge. I think that would be awesome. All right. I was in broadcast journalism in the 90s. I walked out of the industry just before all of it went to electronic and email. You're probably smart to do that because it's all gone downhill since then. I remember having to create sound bites, physically splicing audio tape. Oh, I was around for those days too, kind of at the tail end. I got into it at the tail, like right when digital editing was beginning to be a thing, but I learned to edit on actual tape decks where you did have to splice together the tape. It was pretty crazy. Here's a story for you. We hired a CPA. Yes, a CPA fresh out of college. He did not know how to use formulas in spreadsheet software. Terrifying. He didn't last 6 months. Oh my. Wow. And that's the thing, like, you get this fancy piece of paper. These people have gotten into college and graduated, and a lot of college grads, unfortunately, are lacking like very basic skills. It's sad. It's very sad. I'm not sure if it is they can't problem solve on their own. I think perhaps they don't want to make the effort. Like, I don't know, maybe like a combination of both. Like, I don't know, but there's a lot of like this, like, kind of lazy help seeking. Like, I find people will ask me some really ridiculous questions, and I've had to shut off Etsy Messenger because I'm getting like very crazy messages. So I like can't write back there anymore. So I just send people like a note just saying, hey, you're not going to get an answer here. Sorry. But yeah, it's crazy. Denise is here. Hello, Denise. When my husband was in law school, a professor told them that I'm not going to teach you what to think, but how to think. That's really that really should be happening everywhere. Like, you can't just give people information to regurgitate, or like, yeah, you need to be teaching them, like, again, how to research things on their own, how to cite credible, how to figure out if something's credible or not, like how to figure. And that's what I try to like tell people. That's why I don't just straight out give people machine recommendations. I try to give you the tools that you can make the decision on your own, but I really don't like just telling people what to buy, what not to buy, because I just don't think that's my place. And I also don't think it's helpful. You surely need to have problem-solving skills to sew, craft, and create. Just learning to read and follow a pattern will serve you well in life. Yeah, like how to, like how to do certain techniques. Like, you can use that on many different projects. And, that's what I tend to look up, is not generally how-to videos on like the whole project, but how to do like certain steps, like how to do understitching, or how to do, top stitching, how to do sewing machine tension. So, and that's kind of the videos I like to make too, is how to just do specific skills and not necessarily like a how-to for certain projects or patterns. They hire young people with basic education and little life experience because they are cheaper to hire and fear everything. That's very true. I tried to teach sewing through the local library, but no one ever really responded to actually showing up. I kind of found that too. Like, when you try to help people or like set something up, like nobody shows up, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm not doing that again. All right, Sewing Report main channel is great for newbies and seasoned sewists. Thank you, Lisa, for the shout out. Problem solving almost takes a different mindset. It really does. Schools teach what to think. Unfortunately, questions are discouraged, and it shouldn't be like that. Like, people should be encouraged and told that questioning things is good. Asking questions is seeking answers is good, instead of just like sitting back and letting things happen to you, or like just absorbing information. It seems like there is a lack of younger people being taught to be seeking the answers, to be seeking knowledge. Instead, it's like, you need to do this. It's sad. It's very sad. All right, got to do another quick shout out to tonight's live stream sponsor, the Sewing Report Etsy shop. This is the sponsor for all of the Sewing Report live streams. This is a place where you can find all of your some fabric and sewing supplies for your needs. I also sell a few handmade items, not many, but a few. And we have lots of different supplies. We've got sewing labels, lots of other stuff. Fabric bundles are currently on sale. Free shipping over $35 and shipping within the United States. So thank you to everyone who's ever ordered from the Etsy shop. It really does help. Plus, I enjoy doing it. Like, it's a cool, like, even though it doesn't really make any money, I'm actually really glad I got into it. I don't know. I just like doing the shop. It's taught me a lot just about running this aspect of a business. And I'm really, happy to have it. So, and it kind of helps me connect with a lot of you because you place orders and you write notes and stuff like that. So thank you for everyone who's ever shopped with the Sewing Report Etsy shop. All right, Lisa says, seems like critical thinking and common sense is out the window these days. Any young person with those two life skills will be miles ahead. 100%, Lisa. All right, let's do the sound effect here. That's a little loud, but absolutely, like, it's like if you even have the bare minimum now and you can do anything without hand holding, like you're gonna be like miles ahead of everybody, and you're gonna, climb the ladder much faster. You're gonna be more successful if you are self-sufficient and can do things on your own. A group recently brought up questions on education and classes taught. A few teachers said, it's not our job to teach kids life skills. It's up to parents to do this. I thought Howe said, I think it's sort of a combination. I do think a lot of parents are leaning too much on the educational system and not teaching their kids anything at home. I think it needs to be like a combined effort. Again, I don't have kids, so again, I'm not like a parenting or educational expert for sure. But I think it needs to be both. It needs to be both. I always have an extra sewing machine on hand when I am approached by the younger gals about sewing. I give them pointers and machine some starter material and such. I have done for. That's awesome. What's the teacher's job to teach then? I would expect the teacher to work with the parents to teach them like basic, again, like reading, writing, math, science, all of those skills, and also, again, kind of reinforcing what's taught at home. But I also think, like, I have some teacher friends, and they do have an issue with some parents who are definitely dropping the ball at home too. Teaching for free may or not work because people won't always value what they don't pay for. That's true too. And when I've had people approach me about and not just sewing, but about other things, I find when they don't have a lot of skin in the game, like it's kind of useless. I don't know. I've had some fairly negative experiences with people asking me for help. I'll just say that. After I left broadcasting, I started researching and discovered why even have public schools to begin with. The concept of not asking questions really isn't surprising. Yeah, you're right. You're right. My parents did not teach me typing or sewing. I learned both in school. I'm 60. My daughters are 33 and 37. They grew up sewing. That's awesome. Role learning is kind of terrible for remembering long-term. Asking a quest and testing things out and promoting critical thinking promotes kids and people growth. You're absolutely right. Sewing is, that's the thing. Sewing, like if you don't have critical thinking skills, it's going to be very hard for you to progress in your sewing journey because a lot of it is like problem solving, figuring things out on the fly, trying to make things work, fixing mistakes, and if you're not able to do that on your own, it's going to be kind of tough. There was a sewing class still offered in the 80s, but I could never really get on the machine. I've had to teach myself over 20 years and seek out sewing mentors. That's true. Good thoughts from everybody here. All right, well, everybody, I might be signing off fairly soon. Last call in the chat for any comments or questions. If you have, again, you can ask any question you want. Again, within reason here. Nothing super out there. But if you do have questions, I go live every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Typically, we try to do about an hour and a half to 2 hours, at least sometimes a little bit longer. And I try to have some topics. Let me know in the comments if there's any topics you would like to see me cover in the future here, and I will look into them. But I'm going to go soon eat some dinner and probably cut up some clips from the stream to post as videos. I really need to get on it and try to do those embroidery projects this week because I've been sort of dropping the ball. And also a quick shout out too. This is the Sew Tights hang stand, and this is something that the gals at Sew Tights sent to me. I've been using it to store all of my Sew Tights. You can order these at the Sew Tights website. I have a link in the description box. It is affiliate. But again, I'm a big fan of the Sew Tights. And you can get 15% off of your Sew Tights order with coupon code Sewing Report. This is a business I love and have grown to support. I also sell some of the Sew Tights in the Sewing Report Etsy shop, but the products I don't sell myself, you can find at the Sew Tights website. And again, get 15% off your order with the coupon code Sewing Report. Just a quick shout out to our friends at Sew Tights. Okay, a couple more questions. How is the live channel doing? Lisa asks. The live channel is doing okay. It depends on the topic. Like whenever I do a JOANN's video or anything JOANN's related, so I'll say this. The live viewership has definitely grown week to week. I think just as word has gotten out and I've become more consistent with live streaming at like a regular time. I think if you were live streaming at like random times and never very consistent, you're probably not going to grow a very consistent audience, but it's been doing pretty well. But what does even better is when I clip the live stream. So like if I do a couple topics, I will clip those particular segments and upload them as a separate video. And those actually tend to do just as well or even better than the original stream, which I get it. Like some people don't like watching live streams. So I want to give people different options. Like if you like watching something live, like all of you currently watching do, you have this option. Some people don't like reading. Like for some people, if you're watching on the replay, they find reading the chat to be like too distracting and like too much fluff. So some people don't like that. So I like to try to give people options. So the format I've been doing is sort of, opening up the show, talking about the housekeeping rules, going into a topic and then taking breaks to read the chat and then going back to another topic, reading the chat and, kind of having like a mix between covering different topics and then just, having more of a community aspect here and reading some of your comments. Overall, I'm glad I'm doing it. And I think I definitely needed to break it off of the main channel because the same audience that watches the live streams is not the same audience that just wants to watch sewing and embroidery videos. So I think it's kind of a good thing here. All right, let's read some of the comments here. I always miss the first hour because I watch another live on Sundays. Hey, no worries. Looking forward to your next live show. Yes, thank you. There are not many channels cover sewing news topics. I like this page. Exactly. And I'm glad I split this up because I think covering sewing news and community topics it just has a different audience than what I cover on the main topic. So we cover on the main channel. So I do think that separation was necessary. All right. Can you help me out with my Etsy shop? Hey, what questions do you have, girl? What do you have? Yeah, what do you need help with? Ask away here. I know you've been kind of here for a while. Thank you for the subjects tonight. Many good questions leaves me with a lot to think about. And that's what I want to do here is have a place where we can chit chat, just kind of talk, relax a little bit. I like to have live streams on in the background of what I'm doing. So I kind of figured other people might like that too. I'm glad I experimented with this Rumble Studio, but it's just, I think right now StreamYard just fits my needs a lot better. So I'm going to be going back to that next week. Plus, I really don't like that you can't set up the stream in advance. I think that sucks. But yeah, Gilbert, if you do have any specific questions, leave it. Yeah, the chat is, I love the chat in any live stream I'm in because you always have fun. Plus, there are some chatters that just have a lot of good contributions. So that's why I like to highlight the chat and also read people's comments. I always just think it's a lot of fun, Yeah, Gilbert, if you have questions about the Etsy shop, now is your time, girl. Ask away. I thought about Etsy and I never did it. I think Etsy is tough. And I even had an advantage because I already had social media before doing it. But starting at Etsy from scratch can be tough. You got to find the right niche. You got to have all of your listings optimized or whatever. It's kind of, and it takes a while for your shop to gain traction. It really does. You know, it's definitely not an easy thing to do for sure. All right. Well, Gilbert, if you don't have a question, okay. You've had your Etsy since 2007. Used to take apart jean jackets, decorate, and line them, and sell for $150. Okay. Well, Gilbert, if you have some specific questions, I would say get them ready, and I can definitely answer them next week if you kind of need time to think about the questions. But maybe we can kind of help you workshop your Etsy stuff. Should we do like live Etsy review? We could do live Etsy shop reviews. Maybe we'll do that next week, you know? Yeah, StreamYard seems to be like, again, I'm glad this Rumble Studio is free. StreamYard is not perfect. I'll just say that. But, you know, I think it's definitely better. But yeah, Gilbert, maybe next week. Yeah. So maybe next week, maybe we can do some live. Let me know if you think this is a good idea. We could do live Etsy shop reviews. And we can have the chat sort of weigh in on suggestions and giving helpful tips, something like that. So, yeah. Yeah, I like the consistent. So I think Sunday at 6 p.m. seems to be working out pretty good. All right. So, Gilbert, next week, maybe next week we will do live Etsy shop reviews where we'll kind of maybe give you some helpful constructive feedback, and the chat can help you too. So maybe we'll do that. So, if you are watching this on the replay and you would like to have your Etsy shop reviewed, join us next week. So I think we'll do that next week. We'll do live Etsy shop reviews. We'll all tell you what we think about your Etsy shop, maybe offer some suggestions for what we think you could maybe improve with the shop. You could tell us all about it, but you have to be a live viewer to participate, and then you'll submit your Etsy shop in the chat. So maybe we'll do that next week. I think that'd be a fun topic to do. And we'll talk about whatever else is going on. And again, if you do have other topics that you think would be good to cover, let me know in the comments. But let me know what you think. And on your way out, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like on this stream and subscribe if you have not already. Every Sunday night, we do a live stream where we just chat about whatever is happening in the sewing community and the sewing industry. And we have a lot of fun. All right, yeah. So next week, maybe we'll do live Etsy shop reviews. I think that'd be fun. Okay, did you mention Close to My Heart closing? I did not. I don't even know what that is. Is that a fabric shop? Let's see, Close to My Heart. I don't know what. Is that like a store? Honestly, I didn't even know what that was. Oh, is it like a stamping company? I apologize. I'm not really in that space, to be honest with you. So I don't really, that one's like not really in my wheelhouse. So if we don't have an Etsy shop, should we open one? If you don't want to open an Etsy shop, I would not recommend opening an Etsy shop. I would say, yeah. Okay, scrapbooking. Yeah, I'm not really in that like sphere, but you know what? That seems to be like a trend with some of these crafting and sewing based companies. Some of them aren't making it, you know. It is what it is. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off for the night. I got to eat and we'll cut some of these up for the main channel, for this channel that you'll be seeing soon. But let me know in the comments if you would like to see specific topics mentioned. And if you would like to have your Etsy shop reviewed next week, I think that would be a good topic. So we'll definitely be doing that. And if you are tuning in just now, I would rewind to the beginning because that's when we talked more about the fabric shops. But guys, I'm going to be signing off for tonight. Thank you everyone for watching. You have been tuning into Sewing Report Live. I am Jen, host of the Sewing Report. I'll see you guys again in the next one. And remember, whatever you're doing, make it fun.